I wasn't really dealing with the stress of my life and taking care of myself. And the turning point for me actually was my employer. They do like a retreat for new hires, and they really emphasize like the people that make it in our profession, in our career, are the people that take care of themselves mentally and physically. I looked at myself, I looked at how I'd been eating and how I'd been living, said, well, this isn't going to do it long term for me. I'm stressed, I'm not sleeping well, I'm angry, and I need to make a change.
Good morning, everybody. What is it? Thursday? Happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great week. It's beautiful outside. I'm not sure if I got allergies already, but hey, we're gonna fight through them. You know, I might sound a little crazy this morning. Maybe my voice sounds better. What do you think? Is it nice and deep?
Yeah, you got a little bit of that. You got a little bit of that heft to it.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe we'll sing a song together at the end and see where we're at. Oh, Caitlin's here. Good morning, Caitlin. Dutton didn't work out with you this morning. I think I saw he was at Grant Park, right?
5:30, baby.
All right, Caitlin's going to be angry at you. Caitlin, don't get angry at him this early, all right? Good morning, Keith. All right, so you got coffee? What you drinking?
Water.
Oh, man. No salt?
No salt. Should I be?
For sure.
Okay.
Some kind of salt.
Salt in there.
I can't just put salt in. I have to do. Did you ever use them noon tabs? The little drop one of them in your water.
I used to drink I don't know, 7, 8 of those a day.
Yeah.
So I got kind of burnt out on them, and I've actually always hated plain water.
Me
so
too.
It's part of my trying to be more open to taking care of my health. I am trying to just get to a place where I don't hate plain water.
Dude, I hate it. But the studies actually showed that it's okay to hate it because if you just drink plain water, sometimes you just pee it right out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the noon tabs can get expensive if you put them in every drink, right?
And you got to be careful with the sugar because there's some of those have so much sugar in them.
The noons don't have any.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. But some of them, other ones, have a lot. So
like liquid IV, it's almost all sugar.
Well, that's the thing is I'm drinking that one right now because I couldn't find any noons. I can't remember the name of it. It's the most popular one right now. LMNT or something like that. Element. And that one's they found has a bunch of I'll think of the word, but it's got a bunch of stuff in it that makes your body react. Like diabetics were drinking it and their blood sugar was spiking and they were like, what the hell is going on? Dextrose? It's got a ton of dextrose in it.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, which they don't put on the label, you know?
Is that similar to maltodextrin?
That's what
artificial sweetener?
Maltodextrin, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah,
my mom. They don't even list it.
Yeah. My mom's a licensed
skyrocketing the insulins and stuff. And it's got all zeros on the label, you know? They were like, it's fine. Go ahead. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying my mom's a naturopath, nutritionist.
Okay. Yeah.
So she hates all that stuff. She can tell you exactly what's in it and what it's going to do to you.
So she'd tell you, hey, just put some Himalayan sea salt in your water.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, God, I have to down that.
It's usually that and then something crazy, but, you know.
You drink coffee?
I do, just black.
Yeah. Do you do any mushroom stuff, coffee mushrooms and all that?
I've played around with it before, but it's expensive, and I didn't quite get the amazing results I was promised.
Yeah. Cedric, I had Cedric on the podcast. You know Cedric, right? Mm-hmm. And he was telling me that before big events that he does where he's speaking and stuff, he does this. So I bought some Alpha Brain.
Oh yeah.
And I'd never done it before, and I was wired all day.
Do you like nootropics?
That's the first one I've ever done, and it's so expensive. So
I use these. They're non-nicotine Zins, but they're nootropics.
NZ. What's in it?
Does it work? Probably know a little bit better. Alpha GPC, L-threonine, L-theanine, and L-theanine.
Okay.
But I
Pretty
used
much
the
similar then.
Zen.
Pretty similar
So
stuff.
yeah,
A lot of
these
L's.
these have been my nicotine replacement.
Okay, so you were doing Zens?
Well, until about a month before I showed up to OxFit, I was vaping,
Oh
and
shit.
I was vaping and running ultras.
Oh god.
So I use the Zens to get off the vape, and I'm using these to get off the Zens.
Oh my goodness.
I
All
used to
right,
get pretty funny looks.
let's get into this before we go. So this
Yeah.
is good. All right, I'm joined by Dutton Steele, which is the best name of any ultra athlete in the world, right? Like when you came onto the ultra scene, they must have been like, "Who the hell is Dutton Steele? I'm not racing that guy."
Well, I had a pretty thick mustache too, so I really think the combination of those two things made me a pretty fierce competitor.
I love it. So Dutton Steele's with us. We're going to talk about his 8-week transformation. He's been with us a little bit longer than that now, about 6 months ish.
Since late September.
Yeah, pretty close. And but there was a period of time right before you came in where you weren't quite Dutton Steele, right?
Yeah.
You were kind of Dutton soft. What would we call it?
Yeah. I can go into that a little bit if you want and talk through that.
I'd love to go into that, especially when you just talked about you were vaping and just not in a good place.
So I'll start real quick at like a 10,000 foot view. My weight, my physique, my fitness is always something that's been kind of up and down. So I mean, even as a kid, I was 150 pounds and 4'5", right, and was considered morbidly obese. Now playing sports definitely helped with that, and then I got about 6, 7 years ago, I got into running as part of my mental health and journey, and I did a little bit of strength training. But I started a new job maybe 9 months ago, and when I did that, I stopped working out. And actually, the way that I started gaining a little bit of weight wasn't really, I was living off of nicotine, Waffle House, and Celsius almost exclusively. And of course, I thought, well, I don't have time to work out or take care of my body. So what I ended up doing is taking GLP-1s. And while that brought the weight down, I noticed a ton of interesting side effects as a result. And really, the core truth of it is it didn't solve the problem that I needed solving. So, like, yeah, I lost weight, but I also, the majority of that weight was muscle mass. And I noticed things like when I would walk my dogs up a big hill, I would be out of breath. Right. And like, I didn't have the energy or the capacity to really go work out. And what ended up happening for me is that, like, I got to a place where I didn't have an outlet in physical activity to deal with my emotional or mental stress. So, like, while I looked somewhat okay, with clothes on, um, I wasn't really dealing with the stress of my life and taking care of myself. And the turning point for me actually was my employer. They do like a retreat for new hires, and they really emphasize like the people that make it in our profession and our career are the people that take care of themselves mentally and physically. And I kind of had this little oh shoot moment where I looked at myself, I looked at how I'd been eating and how I'd been living, and said, well, this isn't going to do it long term for me. I'm stressed, I'm not sleeping well, I'm angry, and I need to make a change. And coming into OxFit was interesting for me because I had a background as a, like, I don't know if I call myself elite, but very competitive endurance athlete. And one thing I've learned in my life is that I usually get stuck when I don't ask for help.
Hmm.
So I was super grateful, and I knew that I needed the structure, the community, and the discipline that OxFit was offering in order to get me started back up on my journey. And since then, man, it's been amazing. I mean, even like, I remember there was a period maybe like 3 weeks in where, like, physically I haven't changed much, but I was walking the dogs. I wasn't out of breath. I could feel my muscles tight. And I just remember getting the relief and the satisfaction of being like, you've been staring at this problem for a long time and you're finally doing something about it, and you should be proud of yourself. And that really, for me, that momentum really helped carry me to where we're at now, where, I haven't quite hit my transformation goals yet, but I set them to be longer than a 8 week or 6 month period. And we're making really good progress. So I wake up every day knowing that I'm contributing to that goal and contributing to that version of myself. And since then, my work performance has increased. My relationship with my spouse has gotten better. My relationship with my friends has gotten better. And I just overall feel more confident. And it's not just because I'm working out every day, which definitely helps with stress management, but it's also because like I'm surrounded by other people trying to do the same thing. And that's more powerful than I gave it credit initially.
Man, thank you for sharing all that. Cause like, take me back again to that person that your goals at that time are you want to where are you wanting to go with work? Why is work so important at that time of your life? Like what switched there? Where did you go from, you know, an elite athlete, right, running 100-mile races to
Mhm.
it's not a priority at all, and instead I'm going to take GLP-1 to band-aid over that. You know what I mean? Like how does that shift happen?
Well, as part of that transition too, I had gotten injured. I had taken the running thing way too far
Mm,
because I wasn't really willing. I had a coach at the time, and I wasn't really willing to listen to him. So I was running anywhere between 8 to 14 miles a day, 7 days a week, and
mhm,
not giving my body the recovery I needed. And I got to the point where I knew I had to take some time off of running, but I had tied so much of my identity into that, into being that person, that when I got off of running, I didn't really know how to cope.
mm,
And like, it's really hard to go from being really good at something and like having that be a foundational part of you and your story and who you are to losing that thing and then having to be a newcomer at something else again.
mm,
And like for me, like I grew up around weightlifting, I grew up around working out, and like it was cool that I could run 100 miles, but I couldn't do 10 push-ups.
mhm,
So like I look at myself right now, and my goal isn't to do another ultra, or at least not another 100 miler. I may do some more shorter races in the future. But when I look at who I am, I was actually telling a friend about this. When I look at who I am now and like my physical condition, like I can get back to running. I've been running 2 to 3 days a week just for fun, which is something I couldn't do for quite some time. And like if you look at that level of fitness plus the strength, I think I'm all around in better shape than I was even at that period of my life. And that's been really fulfilling. So to answer your question in a very long way, I think the shift for me is I lost a huge part of who I was,
mm.
and I didn't really know how to cope with that. So I, instead of trying to diversify it into other parts of my life, I just poured it all into one central thing, which at the time was a new job.
Yeah. And you kind of it sounds like you had that all or nothing approach a lot. It was like it was all in on running, and for most people that would be I'm all in on running. I'm going to do a 5K, maybe a 10K, build up. For you, it was like I'm going to do 100-mile races, and I'm running how many miles a week was it?
Like anywhere between like 90 and 110.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd take a down week at 70.
And then you get injured, obviously, from doing that and no strength training, and then you throw it all into work with exactly the same amount of. It was like I'm gonna do an ultra work, right? Like it was like ultra office
Yeah.
or something like that, and you just all in on work. And now it sounds like you found a balance. Obviously, that part of you is not going to go away, right? You're
Mhm.
driven that way. So I imagine every day you come in the gym, you're trying to get better. Great, but it sounds like you found a different kind of goal or a different kind of you want something else from the gym. It's not just about like a finish line anymore for you. It's like a way of life you're trying to build.
100%. And I think I've learned that for a really long time, I was trying to do everything or everything. And I've learned that you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And
Mhm.
like when I look at my day and I look at the way that I structure things, is I kind of tell myself, all right, you got a battery at 100%, and you're going to dedicate parts of that battery to different buckets of your life that you care about. And what I used to do is just put 90% of my battery into the one thing that I was trying to do. And now I look at it as a little bit of it's going to ebb and flow. Some days the gym is going to take 30 of that. Some days the gym's going to take 15 of that. Some days work's going to take 80 of it. Some days it's going to take 50 of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just through, talking to other people and like learning and listening, I've just found that like there is no perfect proportion for my life. It is a daily reprieve where you have to sit and assess those things. And like the thing I love about having a community around my fitness too, and like having the structure is that I tried to work out on my own. And I have a home gym that I use sometimes, but like even when I did it on my own, I got exhausted trying to ask myself like, oh, I've done this workout 5 times this month. This is boring. Or am I even doing the right things? And it's so nice just to be able to show up and know that y'all got me taken care of, that we're doing something for a purpose. There's a plan, there's a progression, and all I need to do is show up and put in the effort. And that to me takes off a huge mental load and just makes the experience way more enjoyable.
Most men don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because there's no structure. They work hard all day, answer emails at midnight, fix everyone else's problems, and then somehow expect a random workout and a protein bar to undo years of stress and bad sleep. That's not discipline. That's just optimism. And eventually, the mirror, the scale, or the fact that your jeans and your pants are negotiating with you more every morning catches up. This is why I built the OxFit coaching program for men. It's not random workouts that I found on Instagram or a diet that ends the second the pizza enters the room. It's really simple, and it's a sustainable system, training, nutrition, and accountability designed to fit into a real adult life. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a new supplement. And you don't need another 30-day shred that leaves you exhausted and angry. You need a plan. You need standards, and you need someone who won't let you disappear when your life gets busy. The OxFit coaching helps you rebuild strength, confidence, and discipline, not just in the gym, but in how you show up everywhere else too. You're gonna train like a man with a plan, not a man hoping this time it sticks. And at ox.fit, let's get started today.
That's good, because for somebody like you, right, that's done all that in the past, and then you coming in and you have to kind of be a little bit vulnerable coming into something new like this, where you have to trust the process. And working with me for the first 30 days, when you have all this knowledge of health and fitness, I strip it right down to basics for the first 30 days. And I'm like, hey, we're going to build a foundation here that most people skip. Most people are like, tell me what macros I should be in, especially people like you, right? Like, no, I want it all and I want it now.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, for 30 days. And I think I remember you being like, well, how much protein should I? And I was like, I don't care. How much? How much should I be working out? Shall I go running in the afternoon? No. You're not in shape right now. You're not very strong. You need to come here once a day, maybe 3 to 4 times a week, and you need to focus on just eating clean, right? And like for you to go back and do that is a huge. Am I still here?
Yeah, you cut off at huge.
Okay. It's a huge credit to you to being able to step back for a second and be like, hey, yeah, let's build some foundations here. And then there are 5 basic foundations. Eat clean. Do something positive to start your day. Get outside. Work out 3 times a week at OxFit. And then take some protein and some vitamin D, right? And for you, you're like, I know all this, right? But everybody knows all this. Everybody has a dumbbell at home. Everybody, but that's not what it's about. And that's what is a credit to you, is you said, yeah, let me build these foundations for 30 days. And then foundations are now things that we're building on to get you to where you're at now,
Yeah, and it's still fun and it's still really fulfilling for me. And I think it's cool. Like for me personally, I think I've learned through other experiences in my life that the things I think I know are usually the things that are going to kill me. And when I'm set in my ways, I am eliminating an entire universe of other possibilities. And luckily, I've had other places in my life where I've had to come to that conclusion. And that's, I think, what made it easier for me to do that with y'all. And it took me a little bit of time because it's really, really hard when you're in your first week and your body hurts and you're tired and, you look in the mirror and you don't look any different. Or like maybe you haven't scrapped off those first few pounds and you're kind of like,
And you
man,
can barely work out, right? You can barely do
yeah.
the workouts, like I remember the baseline workout we did together. You went so hard out the gate and I was like, "Hey dude, slow down. It's not gonna this workout's not easy.
I think I
Amazing."
puked.
Oh yeah.
I'm like 80% sure I puked.
Yep.
And I still puke sometimes. And you know what? That's great. Just means we're making progress.
It's not all the time. Is that's the progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's been really cool too to see other people come in on that journey to add since I've been here.
Mhm.
And just kind of knowing that, knowing what is on the other side of that for them if they're willing to go through it. And like, so, in my personal life, I think you and I've talked a little bit about it, but like I'm in recovery and a big part of that is helping other people. So like when I see new people come in and they're kind of a little bit in shambles and they got a ton of anxiety and like they think their life is over, I can look at them and say, man, if you stick with this thing, you have no idea how amazing your life is going to be in front of you. And it's cool because I get to see a miniature version of that happen to people in the gym as well.
Yeah. And it's easy to skip past that, right? Because when I've seen it so many times, I jump like, "Oh, don't worry, I know where you're going to be in 8 weeks." But most people don't know where they're going to be in 8 weeks. Like you said, that first 2-3 weeks, you just soar every day. You feel like you're making no progress. You're starving. The food sucks, right? Like you just want some sugar. You just want to, you know what I mean? And it's like you forget what that process feels like when all I see is the success stories. You know what I mean? So it's good for you to reiterate that point that like even for somebody like you, it's not easy. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, this is just gonna be just show up. Like you have to make yourself show up, and you have to know that like you're on the right track. And then in 6 months' time, like you said, you get to reap the rewards of just stacking them days on top of each other. And so in your 8-week transformation, the great thing for us was you had a volcano that you were climbing at the end of the 8 weeks. And so from the guy that was struggling to walk the dog, you ended up on top of a volcano. And I think the thing that you were the most proud of was you didn't have anybody help you carry stuff up there. You even carried other people's stuff up there. So tell me what that feels like to go from that to where we ended up when you sent me that photo of you on top of that. On top of the world is what I named this podcast.
Oh, nice. So it's cool because like ultra running was for me one of those things that like I'd heard that people did this. I'd listened to podcasts of people that did this. And like I thought, man, I'd really like to prove to myself that I can do something like this. And that was a huge motivation for me. And I've always felt the same about mountaineering. There's just something, and most of the ultras I run were in the mountains. And I love the mountains. And I've always wanted to get up on high peaks. And if you think about that particular one, you started about, I believe it's 8,000 feet, and you climb 5,000 feet to 13,000 feet. So it's not the most gnarly, but it's still, I mean, like this. And like I said, before I got to OxFit, I was literally walking up a hill by my house. It's not that steep and was out of breath. So for me, like it was really cool to have that North Star and to have that thing that, like ultra running for me, I had always wanted to do, but there were periods in my life where I hadn't put in the work to be able to participate in that activity. So for me, it was a full circle moment of being able to do this thing with my fiance for the first time that I've always wanted to do. And now I've got my eyes set on another volcano that's even higher and even tougher, and hoping to do that at the end of this year. So with another buddy. And it's like, hey, if I continue to show up and do the things at the gym and I continue to take care of myself, I get to go do these things that I only dreamed about doing for a really long time. So I don't look at it as like, oh, this is all training for that thing. But like we talked about a little bit, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Mm.
So like I just look at it as part of the journey. And when we do that, I'll probably say, what else can I do? What's higher than 18,000? Let's go find another peak and just keep doing it.
And the coolest thing for me is that to do that, you're not thinking, oh, now I'm going to quit OxFit and I need to just be mountaineering around Atlanta for the next 18 months,
Yeah.
which is what old you would have done. You'd have been like, okay, I got to get the biggest backpack and I got to go up Stone Mountain 17 times next week. And you know what I mean? But this version of you is like, no, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I've established great habits that I'm getting fitter, stronger, healthier every single day. And so all I need to do is keep doing what I'm doing and I'll be able to climb that mountain. Maybe I go rook a couple of times before I go and I'll be fine, and it's really cool to see the difference in your attitude towards that stuff.
And it's just so different when you have a stronger body. It gives you so much more confidence that I can even, now that I go run, it's funny because I was running with one of my old running friends like maybe a week ago, and I don't track how fast I run or how long I run anymore. I just go out there and like enjoy it. And it turns out we were running. I thought I was getting out there and running like 10-minute miles, and we were running 8-minute miles. And I was like, oh, that's way faster than I thought. But when I run, I can feel the strength in my legs carrying me in a way that I couldn't even when I was like just light and doing a lot of endurance training. And it's really cool. It gives you confidence with each step, not to sound too corny, but like you can feel the work that you do in the gym being incorporated into that run. And that's like just great reassurance for me. And I felt the same thing when carrying, 40 pounds up a mountain.
Mm. Pretty much last question here, because we're coming up on like 25 minutes, is if you could talk to yourself like 6 to 8 months before joining OxFit or somebody like you, what would you tell them and what would you tell yourself kind of?
I think I would tell myself, number one, accept the fact that it's going to take a little bit of time and give yourself some grace. And number two, don't just look at who you want to be in 6 months. That's an important thing to motivate you, and it's a great North Star. But find those little wins along the way. And that's like what I continue to do that continues to keep me engaged. Like the other week we were lifting and I hit a weight that I hadn't hit since high school. And like, does that mean that I'm at my goal? No, but like that's a really cool thing to carry with me throughout the day. So I would say like look for those little moments that are going to propel you forward and give you that win for today, and like really focus on those. And if you do that, you'll kind of just be at your goal before you know it.
Yeah, I love that. And what about any hesitations coming into OxFit?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was like, how do I know that this is the most optimal thing? And like, here's the thing, if you're like me and like you're always trying to optimize things, you're letting perfect be the enemy of good. And like, I've found even through like now I track my macros and I do all this stuff. And I built an app for it. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I used to worry about like, well, what happens if it's 120 calories and not 100? And like the consistency of behavior and awareness over an extended period of time is what drives results. And y'all provide the structure for me to be able to do that. So like if you're questioning which gym to join or whether you should join a gym or whether your gym has the right philosophy, like I guess I would say just quit wasting time trying to figure it out and just go start doing it and you'll get to where you want to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and just to talk about what you said there, like I think a cool thing that we try and talk about a lot is try and beat yourself. Don't try and beat high school done. Don't try and
Yeah.
beat ultra done. Like the reason we do every quarter we have a new scorecard and we have new goals is because the goal is just to beat the person you were 3 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the time I see people hit a weight and a record that they haven't hit in years. And they go, well, when I was this age, I did that. And it's like, no. 3 months ago, you didn't do that. That's a PR. Like, celebrate PRs. Like, celebrate the goals along the way, right? Like, stop comparing yourself to who you were a decade ago, 2 decades ago, even a year ago, right? Like, every time you go up in a weight, you beat your score by a round, you get an extra push-up than you did a few months ago, it's a win.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about what we do is like our goal is to celebrate them wins and to celebrate them results and see them results. And yeah, I just want to celebrate you. When I see you working out now, it's a different guy that walked in, right? Like there's a different level of confidence I see in you that I love to see, where it used to be like I could tell you're in a rush to get somewhere. Whereas now I see you just in a process and you just enjoy training and you don't have to PR today.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice. Whereas before, the first day you came in, it was like, let me show Ant that I used to do this powerlifting thing. And I was like, hey, bro, I don't care what you used to do.
Yeah.
I just care where we're going. And I think you care where you're going now rather than where you've been. And that's going to be cool to see over the next 6 months to a year where we end up. So thank you for having that beginner's mindset and being able to go to that place, because that's where all the magic happens in our program. So
And I'll close on this because I think you brought up a really good point, is that, I had to come in and not expect a PR every day. And there are days where I come in and I just don't have the same juice that I have every day, and that's okay. And the win is showing up and giving it what I have. And usually the person next to me or 2 benches over, 2 stations over is having their best day, and everybody's encouraging them. Mm-hmm. And like, that's a really cool thing too, is that like, it's not just about how I'm doing in the gym. It's about how everybody's doing in the gym, and somebody's always having their best day. And that's a pretty cool thing.
That's a great mindset, man. So just want to, before we wrap up, look at some of the chat. So Lauren said, you're going to be looking so fit and strong on your wedding day.
Let's hope so. We will.
And then Chris Cass said, great advice when you were talking about celebrating the little things. And Keith said, it's not okay to hate water. And we don't hate water. We just hate the taste of it. So
yeah, fair.
And that might be because of all the fluoride that's in it. So just to wrap it up with a controversial statement. All right, man. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. And I think I hope somebody else listened to this and are in that same place where they're just working and thinking they don't have time, when you're a perfect example that if you just make a little bit of time, then work will get even better and your life will get even better. And so have a great day. See you in the gym.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Thanks.